his last season total of 89. The season before that, 89. The season before that, 85, 84, 104. The 2 years he was injured, he got 56 and 37. Then 109, 103, 120 in his breakout year.
Okay, so he's going to make a difference for the clan.
I mean,
let's drop down the table a bit then. Nottingham, their fans are just appalled at how their seasons have gone.
Yeah.
But is he enough of an inspiration to those around him? He probably is. He's a captain.
I mean, Nottingham have lost a lot of games by 1 or 2 goals. This guy's going to give you... I think he adds to every Elite League side. I think he adds them 2-3 points per game. Easily. His mere existence gives you 2 to 3 points per game. So that Nottingham team goes from all those close little 1-0, 2-0 losses, goes to overtime wins, goes to regulation wins. I think they win the league handily with a minute.
Yeah, because it would solve a lot of the other perceived problems with that roster. Okay, let's go down a bit further. Guildford. I mean, Guildford's power play doesn't need Crosby on it. He can just play 5-on-5.
That's very true. You wouldn't put... Hang on, let me just clarify. You wouldn't put Sidney Crosby on the Guildford power play.
Who are you taking off the Guildford power play?
Anybody at Sidney bloody Crosby.
Okay, you can go and tell John Nunbar. Sorry, thanks, don't need you now. Ian Waters, sorry, don't need you. Off you go. Bruce Reddick, nah, you're fine, you'll be okay. No, he can go on the second power play unit.
Guildford's goals for, goals against is like a +5. Again, if we're saying this guy's bringing you at least an extra point per game, add 49 goals and 49 points to that roster, boom, they're top of the table.
They're 10 wins behind, though.
Doesn't matter.
Can he make the difference in enough games?
I think easily. Again, if he's bringing 2 or 3 points per game to that squad, that goal difference of just +4 goes up to about a plus difference of +50. Now,
no, because some of the points he's just going to be getting an assist that they maybe would have otherwise scored. That's not an extra 2 goals a game. Might be an extra 1 a game.
I think he's giving you an extra 2 goals a game because he's going to be. First of all, he's going to score loads of goals. Let's look at it from just a basic point of view. Is Sidney Crosby twice as good as any of the Elite League players we've got? A bare minimum.
It's hard to rank them in that sense, but yes, he is considerably better.
So we would then expect him not to get 89 points a season. We would probably expect him to get 160 points, right? So we'd expect to double his goal tally and double his assist tally. Now, again, if we just take last year as the example, now he played 75 games. That's more than what he'll play in the Elite League. So let's round it all down and say that last year he won.
Well, no, with Cup and Playoffs, that's probably about right.
Oh, okay then. So last season he got 89 points. All right? Half of them were goals. And actually, well, half of them were... So 30 of them were goals, 60 of them were assists, give or take.
Yeah, okay.
So he's going to be twice as good in the Elite League.
So he's going to score more than 1 a game, plus all his assists.
He's going to score 60 goals and 120 assists. Right? He is going to score half the goals of the Milton Keynes Lightning currently have this season.
Yeah, but that's it. So we're working our way down the league. Is there enough otherwise talent on the Steelers roster for Crosby to make a difference?
Well, let's stick with Guildford, because that's where I think that... Because let's add 60 and 120 assists onto Guildford. They're rocking. The league's... I think the league's the dust to them, because look how good Ben Lake is at keeping the Coventry Blaze alive. That Coventry Blaze squad, not great. They've got the best player in the league. And they are still just touching playoff distance. On the back of him, essentially. Imagine what Sidney... let's double a Ben Lake easily. And I think Guildford... I think they rock the league.
Okay, so let's keep working our way down the table then. So Sheffield and Fife, they're sort of... they're... teams that have been towards the top end of the table in recent seasons, maybe have just slipped back, injuries, poor form, suspensions got in the way of their seasons. Are they close enough? Can Crosby overturn, another... Can he turn 15 defeats into wins? That's what's going to be needed.
I can't see him doing it for Sheffield, but I can see him doing it for Fife. And I have logic behind this.
Okay.
The Steelers haven't been great defensively. They have the 3rd worst defensive record in the Elite League. And they've been pretty average offensively. Fife have been as average offensively, but they've been slightly better defensively. In fact, they only have a plus-minus of around about 8 or 9. I think Crosby flips them over. Maybe just makes them competitive. Maybe just makes them in the hunt. I don't know if he does that for the Steelers.
So we're basically saying, how bad does your defence have to be before Crosby can't win you the league? That changes it round a bit, doesn't it?
I think so.
I think it's safe to say that with Milton Keynes, there are probably too many other problems. Milton Keynes would be a playoff team, for sure, with Crosby, but there are so many other issues that they have. They're playing short of imports. Maybe some of the imports they brought in weren't quite up to what they were expecting. I don't think some of the players they had would be leaving for other leagues if Crosby was a teammate.
Yeah.
But it's a long way to win a league from there, isn't it?
It is.
The old Edinburgh teams wouldn't have won the league with Crosby.
No.
There were too many problems to fix.
Too many holes in the back. But I think Fife defensively are okay enough for Crosby to make a big difference.
What about in Manchester? Or would he spend all his time in the penalty box?
I mean, he's not famous for being in the penalty box.
Can he cope with the small rink in Altrincham?
I don't know.
Does that hurt him? It must do. Surely a bigger ice surface would give him more space to do Crosby things.
Yeah, I'm into that. I mean, like I say, he doesn't spend a lot of time in the box. Averages around about 40 minutes. But the other thing about Crosby is the other thing that these stats probably don't tell us is how much ice time he would get. Now, he gets a lot of ice time in the NHL. He gets about 24 minutes, which is very high, even for a first liner. He could easily stretch that by 10 minutes in this league. See what I mean? So he's playing a lot. I mean, again, he's got a lot of time to make a difference, to make an impact. Even Manchester, I don't think, could coach him to be that aggressive. But how much does he play a lot on the penalty kill? Probably not. That's probably when he's resting. So I still think Manchester.
You put him out there because he's short-handed skills.
Oh, it's
he's going to be able to show. It's a scoring situation every time he's out on the ice.
I nearly compared Sidney Crosby to Jason Silverthorne there, very briefly, which would have been outstanding. But
that's the thing.
Jeremy Tendler and
Stingrays killed it with Tendler and Silverthorne.
Yeah.
With the idea being that we're just going to try and score short-handed here.
Yeah.
And the penalty kill was dreadful for a season. One of the first things I commentated on him. It was terrible, worst in the league. But they scored so many short-handed goals that actually, if you took that into account, they were actually sort of middle of the pack. It was sort of better than most of the teams around them.
Yeah.
We're going to take a risk that we're going to concede. Hey, it's a penalty kill situation. We're probably going to concede anyway. Let's try and score as many as we can. And then they were into double figures for short-handed goals, early on in the season, just because the two of them took massive risks.
So he's even playing your penalty kill?
I think he would, yeah. Why would you not want your best player out there as much as you can?
So the Storm could be saved. I mean, that's been.
But to win the league,
that's true.
They're a long way behind. But how much of it is we're falling behind? We're a bit demotivated. I know everyone gives everything every game, but it's not the same when you know you're out of contention.
I mean, Manchester's penalty minutes are insane this season. 1,011 penalty minutes compared to their nearest rival, which is Milton Keynes, who are on 845. That's leagues away, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, the lowest amount of penalty minutes is the Dundee Stars, 445 minutes.
So, could Crosby make the difference for the Stars team then? A team that is hard-working, star-free, and plays so many close games.
So many.
How many overtime games they had this season? Is it up to...
Is
it 12 yet?
Yeah,
or is it...
something like that.
Yeah, there's a ridiculous amount.
Yeah. Regulation wins 13, actual wins 18, overtime losses. So yeah, it's 13, isn't it?
No, so, 12. You've played 17 overtime games.
17, sorry. Yeah.
That suddenly, you can turn a lot of those overtime defeats into wins. If you give the Stars team an extra 12 wins, give them an extra 12 points, they're on to 60.
Yeah, they're up there, aren't they?
And suddenly they're up there. Some of the games they've lost, we can turn into it. The Stars are probably right in contention.
Is that where he makes the biggest difference then, in Dundee?
which team doesn't really have a sort of a marquee superstar goal scorer?
Yeah, Dundee would probably be one of the first teams that came to mind.
Marquardt is a top player, and I think he's terrific. He's doing a great job. But Sheffield tried to have him on their sort of second or third line last year.
Yeah.
And they were trying to be in contention for a title.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a title contender, Marquardt needs to be a lower line forward, where he's terrific at what he does. Mm-hmm. So add in an elite scorer to that team. That makes a whole world of difference.
Doesn't it?
You know, you look at some of the other teams at the top and you can see where the goals are going to come from to win them the big games. I think it's teams who've really struggled for an elite scorer. Teams like Sheffield and Dundee, who would really benefit the most. Because suddenly you have a focal point, and players who are being asked to be first liners can go back to doing what they would normally do, being second and third liners.
So are we saying then the only teams you wouldn't be able to save then are Milton Keynes, Storm, Blaze? They're too far behind?
Blaze's net-minding.
Yeah, that would be the difference, isn't it?
It's been so poor for so long.
My goodness, they'd be good games to watch.
Oh, terrific.
1997 Kevin Keegan all over again. Man alive. So, the only team we're saying that's currently in playoff contention that we wouldn't think would have a really good shot at winning the league is actually the Steelers, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, the Steelers would.
You think
Crosby.
So? Not the defensive issues that they've had. Well, actually, it hasn't really been defensively. It's been offensively that they've really struggled, isn't it?
Yeah, they've conceded, 3 or 4 goals a game, and they've lost because they've only scored
1,
2 or 3.
Yeah.
So once you can turn that 2 or 3 into 4 or 5, a bit like Belfast did last season with Jackson Whistle, won a lot of games 6-4, 5-3, 8-6. They won a lot of high-scoring games. They just outscored teams, and it made up for bad net-minding. Coventry have the potential to do that, and I think Sheffield will have the potential to do that if you had a Crosby in. So is it possibly only Milton Keynes that he can't save?
Because they're just too far behind. So that's basically it. The stick that we have for how bad do you need to be before Sidney, because even Sidney Crosby doesn't save you, is Milton Keynes.
And I think the same thing would apply in League 2. Take the team that's bottom of League 2 in the English Football League and give them Ronaldo.
Yeah, but your sample's quite diluted though, isn't it? Because he's only 1 of 10. Sidney Crosby could, in theory, play a lot of ice time.
But football's just decided by 1 or 2 goals. And
that's true.
Ronaldo's going to make that difference, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
So, in the same sort of thing, I would say that if the Elite League is the Premier League...
Yeah.
Sorry, if the NHL is the Premier League,
the
Elite League is
I like the way I disagreed with you.
We have professional players.
Yeah.
All fully professional. There are some who probably have a part-time job on the side.
Yeah.
There are some teams who struggle at the professional level and would be more suited to the conference. And we have players who used to play in the top league. We have a few foreigners across as well. But mainly it's good old homegrown lads. We play in front of a few thousand fans. And the players, they earn a living. And some of them will go on to play at a better level in the future. I think Ronaldo would win any League 2 team of the league. I think Crosby would win the league for pretty much everyone. Maybe not Milton Keynes. So that's it for another episode. If you've got any comments or questions or suggestions for future hypotheticals, then tweet us at HockeyHypo and make sure you leave us a comment and a rating wherever you're listening from. On behalf of Stephen Dowson, this is Jonathan Fernley saying goodbye.